Okay, last time we were doing these curved shapes, right?
Mhm.
X squared. And now what does it mean? Let's look at this. I'll do an example question for you, okay? Before we start, if I can find my pen. So if you look at this, this is in which form? It's in factored form. What does it give you? Any ideas? What does this equation right here give you? Gives you the x-intercepts, okay?
Mhm.
Gives you the x-intercepts. To find the x-intercepts, you want to set the individual brackets equals to 0. All right,
Mhm.
let's set them equal to 0. X plus 1 equals to 0. What is x?
-1.
Yeah, -1. That's one of the x-intercepts. And what about from the other one? If you said x minus 5 equals to 0, what do you get?
+5.
Exactly, you get +5, okay? So in this curve, well, what we know so far is that there's an x-intercept at -1 and +5. And if you look at the a value, yeah, or just like kind of like the slope, is it positive or negative? The number on the outside. There's an invisible 1 there, yeah? It's
Mhm.
positive. Now what's its significance? It means it's opening upwards like this. Okay, it's gonna look like a U. But if it was negative, like it is in the next question, it's gonna open upside down. Similar to linear graphs, right? Positive is this way, and negative is this way. Same idea here. And now that we have the x-intercepts, yeah, what we can do is we can find the midpoint, which is called the axis of symmetry. What's right in the middle of -1 and 5?
Um,
What's the
is
midpoint?
it 2?
Yeah, it's 2. How'd you get that?
I don't know.
Well, you did this, okay? The way to do this is you just add them up, the two x-intercepts, and you divide them by 2, like this. -1 plus 5 over, always divide them by 2. Add them up, divide them by 2. It's like the average. 4 over 2, 2. You see that?
Mhm.
That's how you get that. So what is the significance of this number 2? 2 means you see right in the middle, the x value is 2, okay?
Okay.
Right in the middle, the x value is 2. Now for the next question, they want the y value. Okay, they want the y value. Is this point a minimum or a maximum, which is also called a vertex?
Um,
So,
maximum?
no, minimum. That's the lowest it'll ever be, right?
Oh, okay.
Maximum means no other number can be bigger than that, but here this is a minimum. No number here will be smaller than this on the y. So to find the minimum value, what you need to do is you need to plug this back in there as x, okay? This is how we got this one. So let's plug 2 back in there as x. So we get 2 plus 1 times 2 minus 5. You see that?
Mhm.
That is 3 times -2. That is -6. So this point right here is 2 comma -6.
Okay.
Okay, and that's the vertex. Now in the next one, they want the vertex. Well, we just found the vertex. The vertex is always going to be the midpoint of the x-intercepts and what the y value is when you plug that midpoint back into the equation. So it's going to be 2 comma 6. All right. And now they want us to rewrite this equation in vertex form. And you see these? This is the
Mhm.
vertex. This is called h comma k. The general form is this: a x minus h squared plus k. What is the a value in this question? A value is a number on the outside.
1.
1, right? And then you got to do x minus, what's the h value?
-6.
No, that's k. Okay, h is 2.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
H comma k, 2 comma -6, so x minus 2 squared, and then the k value is -6. There we go. That's the equation in vertex form. Okay?
Okay.
Once you have the vertex, it's pretty simple. And the a value is the one constant. Whatever the a value is in any other form, it's going to be the same thing in the vertex form as well. Convert to standard form. Standard form has this rubric: ax squared plus bx plus c. Any ideas on how we can take this, which right now is in factored form, to standard form? Notice we need an x squared. How do we get an x squared out of this? Do we add them? Do we subtract them? We need an x squared.
Um,
Gotta multiply them, okay? That's the only way to get an x squared, because we have two different x's. If you divide them, you'll get a 1. That doesn't help. If you subtract, you'll get a 0. If you add, you'll get a 2x. So you gotta multiply them. How do we multiply these guys? How do you open this bracket?
First you get x to the power of 2
Right, and then?
plus 1x.
Yes. And there's 2 more things you get.
-5.
Yeah, that's one of them. You need one more thing.
Oh, plus 1x.
We already have a plus 1x.
What do you need?
Well, whenever you multiply two things, when you multiply 2 times 2, right? 2 terms with 2 terms, you get 4 things. This is how you do it. You do first x times x, and then you do this. X squared, what's the next term? If you multiply x with -5. -5x, okay?
Mhm.
And then you gotta do the 1. What's 1 times x? It's plus 1x. And what's 1 times -5? -5, like that.
Okay.
If you group up the like terms, what do you get?
Um, you get -4x.
Yes. Okay, notice which form are we in? Again, it's given in the, if you read the column, it'll tell you which form are we in.
Standard form.
Right. You do notice the difference between all 3 of them? Vertex form looks like this. Factored form has 2 different brackets. Now, what's the significance of these 3 forms? Well, vertex form gives you the vertex, right? It gives you the vertex. The factored form, it gives you, when you set the brackets individually equals to 0, it gives you the x-intercepts, okay? What do you think the standard form gives you? And the number in contention is this -5. What do you think this is? Look at the next column.
The y-intercept.
Yeah, so the standard form gives you the y-intercept, okay?
Okay.
And it's -5. Now see, with everything we know, we can graph this very, very precisely. So we know that, again, I'm just gonna make a rough sketch on the side. We know the x-intercepts are -1 here, yeah? And 5 there. What else do we know? We know that there's a vertex. Oh, what is this? There's a vertex at 2 comma -6. So 2 on the x, -6 on the y. And what's the y-intercept?
-5.
Yeah, -5. Okay, you see that? -1, -5. The vertex, positive 5 like that. And then if you join the dots, we can graph this very, very precisely. There you go. That's what this looks like. Okay.
Okay.
So you need 3 things to graph a U-shaped curve or a quadratic. The x-intercept, which is also called the zeros. It means the y value is 0. The vertex and the y-intercept. Let's look at question number 2 here, just directly underneath. What are the zeros of this?
4 and -2.
Yeah, good. 4 and -2. What's the axis of symmetry, which is called the midpoint of the 2 x-intercepts?
Is it 1?
It is 1. Good. What's the y value or the optimal value? So to do this, you got to plug 1 back into the equation, yeah, as x. So you have -1 minus 4 times 1 plus 2, like that. What does that give?
Is it -6 or +6?
It's not 6, it's 9. So you have -1 minus 4 is -3. 1 plus 2 is positive 3, right? So negative times -3 is just 3. 3 times 3, 9. It's 9.
Okay.
So the optimal value is 9. Now a question to you. Is this graph opening up or down? Look at the a value.
It'll go up.
It's opening upwards, right? So it's going to look something like it's going to go through the x-intercepts. We don't know what the y-intercept is just yet, but the graph of this is going to look something like this. Or I think it's going to be like that, okay? So you see we found the vertex, which is when the x value is 1, the y value is 9, right? That's the vertex, 1, 9. Now again, is this point a minimum or a maximum?
Minimum.
No, minimum means so if it opens upwards, it's going to be a maximum. Okay, think about it. Can this y value get any lower? Yes, it can, right? See, over here we have a y value of 8, over here we have a y value of 7, and over here we have a y value of -100. It is not a minimum. Minimum means that's the lowest y value it can be. Okay, it's a maximum. Why is that? Can it be 10? Will y ever be 10?
No.
No, it won't be, because that's the vertex. It just curves right back down. This graph will never reach a y value of 10. So that point right there, this vertex is a maximum, okay?
Okay.
Because there's no higher y value it can be. Now, will this be in vertex form? Again, you just got to plug h comma k, which in this case is what? It's just the 2 numbers that we just found. It's 1, 9. It's going to plug h and k into this equation. What does that give us? First of all, again, we're plugging it into this equation. Okay, it's easier than you think. It's just literally replacing the letters with the numbers. What's the a value? Look at the factored form. What's the a value? The number on the outside.
-1.
-1, right? And why don't you help me fill this up? X minus what? What's the h
1.
value? Yeah, exactly. X minus 1 squared. What's the k value? Plus 9, right?
9.
Yeah, there we go. See, it's very, you just gotta replace the letters with the numbers that we already know. Convert to standard form. Again, to convert to standard form, we're gonna have to open the brackets because we need an x squared. How do we FOIL this or expand this? What's the first term? Again, leave the negative on the outside for now. We'll deal with it later.
X to the power of 2.
Yeah, and then?
Plus 2x.
Yes, and then?
Negative 4x.
Right. And the last term?
Negative 8.
Yes. If you group up the like terms inside the bracket, what do you get?
X to the power of 2 minus 2x minus 8.
Right. Now let's open the minus sign on the outside. If you throw the negative in there, what do you get?
Do you just multiply it with everything inside?
Yes, yes.
So minus x to the power of 2
Yes.
plus 2x
Yes. And then last
plus
term.
8.
There you go. What's the y-intercept?
8.
Yeah, there we go. And you see this, whatever this was, we found what that was. That's 8, the y-intercept. Okay. X-intercept, vertex, y-intercept, and you can graph any curve precisely. These don't have slopes. If you think about it, like where would you find the slope of? Because it curves around all the way throughout. So a linear, it just has the same slope, right? You can find the slope. For these, you can also find the slope, but it's gonna be at one specific point. What we do is we draw a line, right? Like that at 2. Then we can find the slope when x is 2, when x is 3, when x is 4, but there's no general slope. And we won't do that here. We're not worried about the slopes. So that was in, we went from factored form to the other two forms, okay? And the whole unit is about going from one form to the other. Let's look at this next. Which form is this in? What do you think? There's only 3 choices. Standard form, factored form, and a vertex form. Which one do you think this is in?
Is it standard?
Yes, it is standard. And what's its significance? By that, I mean, what does it give you straight up?
The y-intercept?
Yes. So the y-intercept is minus 25 for this one, yeah? Now we need to find the zeros, or the x-intercept. Any ideas on how to do that? To find the zeros, it needs to be in a certain form.
I'm not really sure.
You gotta take it into factored form.
Oh, okay.
We did this last week. How do you factor this? Again, if you look at this, is this a man problem? No, it is not. The bottom one is man requires you to have 3 terms. How do you factor x squared minus 25?
Difference of squares.
Yeah. So what does that factor to?
X to the power of 2.
Nope.
Do you add like on one side and then?
No. It's just it's x plus 5, x minus 5. This is in the form of a squared minus b squared. It's a plus b. and a minus b. Doesn't matter which bracket you write first, but that's how you factor a difference of squares. Now look at the factored form. What are the x-intercepts?
-5 and 5.
Right. Now we want the axis of symmetry, which is the midpoint of the two x-intercepts. What will that be in this case?
0.
Yes. Optimal value. That means you got to put that value back into the equation as x. Whatever we got as axis of symmetry, plug that back into the equation. What does that give?
Where do you plug it in?
Into the main equation. Plug this value as this.
Don't you just have -25?
That's right. Vertex. So where's the vertex? It's just the things we just found in the previous two columns.
0 and -25.
Right. And again, we need to write this in vertex form, which again, this is h comma k. So we have ax minus h squared plus k. So what'll this be?
X minus 0.
Yeah. What's the a value though? There's it's just 1, right? In this case.
Mhm.
So it'll be x minus 0 squared plus, so our minus 25 because the k is negative, and you're done.
Okay.
Look at question 4. What's the y-intercept?
16.
How do you find the zeros of this?
Do you have to do MAN?
Yeah, you do. But step 1, before you do that, let's GCF this. Can we factor anything out to begin with? Because it'll make your life easier when you're doing the MAN.
2.
-2. Okay, always take out the a value. -2. If we take this out, what are we left with?
X to the power of 2.
Yeah.
Plus 2.
No, minus 2x.
Oh, okay.
What's the last term? -8.
Okay.
So we're looking for two numbers. When you multiply them, you get what?
16.
No, because we already took out the -2, right? We're just
Oh,
strictly
8,
looking.
-8.
Yeah, when you add them, what do you get?
-2.
Yeah, -2. So what are the numbers? Well, there's only one thing that multiplies to 8, or actually there's two things. One of them is 1 times 8, which doesn't work in this question. What else multiplies to 8?
4 times 2.
Right, so if you, in this question, which one's positive, which one's negative?
Um, 8 is negative.
Oh, and we know the numbers are 4 and 2, okay? It's gonna be -4, +2.
Oh, okay.
because that adds up to -2 and multiplies to -8, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So once you have this, how do we factor that bracket? We did this last week, right? So you want to rewrite -2x in the middle as x squared minus 4x plus 2x minus 8. Now you group them two at a time. From the first two terms, what can we pull out?
X.
What are you left with if you pull out an x?
X minus 4.
Yeah. From the next two brackets, what can we pull out? Or sorry, from the next two terms.
2.
If you pull out a 2, what are you left with?
X minus 4.
Yeah. Okay, like that. Now what's the next step?
You get X minus 4 and X plus 2.
Right, so you have -2, x minus 4, and x plus 2. There you go. So what are the x-intercepts?
4 and -2.
Right, 4 and -2. What's the axis of symmetry, which is the midpoint between them?
It's just 1.
Right. What's the y value, optimal value? You gotta plug that back into the main equation, okay? Plug 1 into the equation wherever you see an x. What'll that give you?
Is it 18?
It is. That's exactly what it is. So what's this in vertex form?
X minus 1 plus 18.
What's the a value?
-2.
Yeah. And there we go, okay?
Okay.
Is this opening up or down?
It'll go up.
It's opening upside down, okay? Like that. How do we know it's open upside down? Because the a value is negative.
Okay.
So the vertex here, is that a maximum or a minimum? Which is 1, 18, right? Is that a maximum or a minimum value?
Maximum.
Right. This one's easy because they don't want the x-intercepts. So if you look at 5, 6, 7, which form is this in? Well, at least 5. Is it in factored form, standard form, vertex form?
Vertex.
Right, so where is the vertex? Okay, you want to compare that with a x minus h squared plus k. So what's h comma k?
3 and -6.
-3, -6. Because it's x minus h, okay?
Oh, okay.
If it's plus there, h is going to be negative. So opening up or down? By up, I mean
Down.
this. By down, I mean this, okay? Is it a U or an inverted U?
Inverted U.
No, it's not. A value is positive, right? The A value is positive, it opens up like this.
Oh, okay.
So is that minimum or maximum, the vertex?
Minimum.
Yeah. The last section here, it says convert to standard form. Any ideas on how we can do that? Just gotta open the brackets, okay? So we have x plus 3 squared, which is the same thing as x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 3, right? Like that. Let's open this bracket. What do we get?
X to the power of 2
Yeah,
plus 3x.
right? And then
3x plus 9.
yeah. Group up the like terms. What do we get?
X to the power of 2 plus 6x.
Right, and plus 3, okay? And you're done. So what's the y-intercept?
Plus 3.
Yeah. Let's look at 6. Any ideas where the vertex possibly could be for this one?
Is it 0 and 10?
It is perfect, yes. 0 and 10. Is it opening up or down?
It'll go down.
Yeah, inverted or normal? U or upside down?
Upside down.
Yes, yes. So is that vertex a maximum or a minimum?
Maximum.
All right. Convert it into standard form. It is already in standard form. There's no brackets for us to open. Okay. Convert to standard form just means get rid of the bracket. Let's look at 7. Where's the vertex? Maybe this will help. There's a plus here on the outside.
1 and 0.
-1. Now, do you
Oh,
understand
okay.
why it's -1? Because you see it comes as x minus h, okay? If it's x plus 1, it's going to be -1 here. Is it opening up or down?
Up.
So is that point a maximum or a minimum?
Minimum.
Right. And to convert to standard form, we just got to get rid of the brackets. So it's squared, so that just means you write whatever's in the bracket twice. Leave the 2 for now. Let's open the bracket. What do we get?
X to the power of 2 plus 1x.
Yes. 2 more things.
1x plus 1.
Yeah. So that's just, it's going to become 2x squared plus 4x plus 2, and you're done.
Okay.
Are you getting this?
Mm-hmm.
The 3 different forms? Okay, so there is a soccer ball. In the path, again, notice the a value is negative, so it's going to be upside down, like this. On the y-axis, we have the height. And on the x-axis, we have the horizontal distance. Good part A. When the ball touches the ground again, how far away is it? So what do they want?
The height?
No, they want the x-intercept.
No. Oh, okay.
Look at this question. How do you find the x-intercept? How have we been finding the x-intercept? Which form does it need to be in?
Um, Wait, the phone's ringing. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. So the question was, to find the x-intercept, which form does it need to be in?
I don't really remember.
It needs to be in factored form.
Oh, okay.
So how do we factor this? What can we pull out?
D?
Yes. What are we left with if we pull out a D?
0.025?
Minus 0.025. What else?
Um,
Minus 0.025 D plus 1.
oh, okay.
Now what?
Do you take like another bracket and do -1?
No, you just wanna, because now we already factored it, okay?
Oh, okay.
Now we're trying to find the x-intercept. Any ideas? We already have the thingy in factored form. Now we're just trying to find the x-intercept. Remember how we did this before? You want to set the brackets individually equals to 0. Okay?
Oh, okay.
You want to set this equal to 0. So one of the x-intercepts is 0. And you want to set this bracket equal to 0. Minus 0.025 d plus 1 equals to 0. How do we solve this equation for d? It's a linear equation.
You subtract 1 to have -1.
Yes. And then?
You divide by -0.025.
Yeah. If you do that, what do you get?
-40.
Well, you're dividing -1 by that, so you'll probably get a positive 40. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So there you go. The x-intercepts are 0 and 40. Cool? So the ball lands 40 meters away. That's the answer to part A. Part B, what's the maximum height? Any ideas on how to find that?
You just plug in 40, like into
No,
the
not
equation?
40, not 40. You need to find the midpoint.
Oh,
What's the midpoint between 0 and 40?
20.
Right, so if you plug 20 into the equation, what do you get? Might have to use a calculator.
Is it 195?
Probably not. Did you put a negative 0.025?
Oh, no.
Yeah. That times 20 squared plus 20. Well, probably won't be 195. It's gonna be less than 20.
It'll be 10.
Yeah. There you go. That's the maximum height, okay? So the y value up here, the x value is 20, the y value is 10, and we're done with this. It just looks complicated. It's really not. Let's try doing some of these, which is basically like an overall review. Using the graph on the right, state the zeros, which is the x-intercept. What are the x-intercepts for the graph on the right?
1 and 5.
Yes. Find the a value of the parabola.
Is it just 1?
No idea, but we can find that out. So again, factored form, we can rewrite this as a x minus 1, x minus 5, okay? Now we need to plug in a point. Pick a point that we can plug in to find what a is. A nice point that we can plug in as x and y to find what a is.
Um, 2 and 3.
2 and -3. This point? Yeah, 2 and -3. So when the y value is -3, the x value is 2. Right? Like that. That makes sense? Now we'll just solve this equation. So a times 1 times -3 is -3. Yeah, so a is 1.
Okay.
State the equations of the parabola using both vertex and factored form. Any ideas? I mean, we already have it in factored form, right? This is the factored form. We
Mhm.
can just plug in the value of 1 as this. There you go. That's the factored form. To write it in vertex form, it's going to be y equals a x minus h squared plus k. Why don't you fill this up for me? Look at where the vertex is, this point right there.
-4 and 3. I mean 3 and -4.
Right, so if you plug that into the equation, what do you get?
Um, x minus 3 plus -4. I mean -4.
Right, so a is 1, and then we have x minus 3 whole squared minus 4.
Okay.
All right, let's try doing this. It just says factor. Look at the first one. By first one, I mean a. How do we factor that?
Do you have to find the GCF?
Yes,
Which is 4?
right. So if you pull out a 4, what are you left with?
X to the power of 2
Yeah,
plus 7 plus 4.
yeah, plus 7x plus 4. Right, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really man this. Look at D. How do we factor this?
You find the GCF again?
Yes. So what can we pull out?
Wait, you can pull out an X
Not just an x.
and the 5?
Yeah, you can pull out -5. And how many x's can you pull out?
2?
Yeah, x squared, like that. What are you left with in the bracket?
-5x to the power of 4.
Positive 5x, because we pulled out a negative.
Oh.
And that's not going to be 5x, it's going to be 3x for the first one, okay? For this one.
Mm-hmm.
What about the next term?
-5x to the power of 2.
Yes, good. And what are the last term?
Um, 6x.
Just a plus 6.
Oh, okay.
Okay, -5x squared times plus 6 is -30x squared. Look at G. What can we pull out?
Just 8?
Yeah. Fill out an 8. What are you left with in the bracket?
Um, minus 5x.
No, you're forgetting about the first term.
Oh, x to the power of 2.
Right. And 5x minus. And what about the last term?
-3.
Yeah. And you're done. Okay.
Okay.
That's all there is to this. How do you find this unit?
It's okay.
It's okay, right? Yeah, let's call it a day, a couple of minutes early. I got something to take care of, but I'll see you tomorrow. Okay,
All right. Thank you.
no worries. Goodbye.